Good morning, Primary 6. Sorry for the slightly late start. I was just posting that I'm live streaming in Teams because I've noticed that our numbers have gone down ever so slightly, and it'd be quite good to boost them back up again, particularly today because today is all about maths. So the maths today is a little bit challenging. We're kind of just throwing you straight in at the deep end, but I figured we'll probably we'll do a little bit of work on it in this live stream just to help you understand it because we're covering 3 concepts in one lesson today. 3 for the price of 1. You don't get better than that. But it means you're really going to have to focus. You're really going to have to apply your brains. Really going to have to work hard. Okay? So today, I would normally do this over 3 separate lessons. But today we are learning about how to calculate the distance, how to calculate the speed, and how to calculate the time that it takes to move over a certain distance and speed, and so on and so forth. We're learning 3 lessons worth of content in 1 lesson. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Just a quick shout out to the people in the comments. I'm seeing we've got Alyssa, we've got Chloe, we've got Charles, we've got Sky, Zach, Aisha, Amira and Aya, Karina, Nathaniel. Loads you in here, guys, which is great to see. Let's try and boost these numbers up a wee bit more. It'd be good to see more people tuning in once again. We used to have like 50 joining us. We seem to have dwindled away a wee bit. But, you know, I guess you're getting a bit sick of hearing my voice. I am as well, to be honest. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight on to things. So I'm going to flip to the Active Inspire view. Here we go. Right, so today we are looking at distance, speed, and time. And right now, this is lesson number 1, if you like. We would normally, like I said, do this over 3 separate lessons, but we're just throwing you straight into it. So this is lesson number 1, if you like. And we are learning to calculate the distance traveled at a set speed and time. So let's say I'm traveling 5 kilometers per hour. There's a clue in the word there. 5 kilometers per hour. I'm traveling 5 kilometers per hour, and I do that for 1 hour. How far am I going to have traveled? Well, per hour means every hour. So I'm going 5 kilometers every hour. I'm doing that for 1 hour. How many kilometers am I going to have gone? Well, obviously, 5 kilometers. The distance will be 5 kilometers. So if I'm going 5 kilometers per hour, then, and I'm doing it for 1 hour, how far will I go? 5 kilometers. That's pretty easy, but that's your entry point, okay? That's your way in. From here, we're going to ramp it up a little bit, okay? So what about if I did that for 2 hours? Let's change this to a 2 here. So I'm going at the same speed, 5 kilometers per hour. So every hour I go 5 kilometers. What happens if I do it for 2 hours? Well, that's going to be 5 kilometers times 2, because I do it for 1 hour, I go 5 kilometers, I do it another hour, I go another 5 kilometers. So 5 times 2, well, that's 10 kilometers. Hopefully you're seeing how this works. So 10 kilometers there. Basically, we multiply them together. If you want to know the distance traveled, we times the speed by the time. So do speed times time. Okay? So let's change these numbers a little bit. Let's say let's go 12 kilometers per hour. So every hour now, I'm going 12 kilometers. That's a sort of steady running speed there, or a fairly fast-ish run. Not a sprint, but a fair jog. And let's say that I do that for, oh no, let's go 1.5. That's a little bit, you know what, actually no, let's do it for 2 hours, one day. And then I do it for 1.5 hours the next day. So the 2 hours one is like your mild one. Okay, so this is the mild option. This is the spicier option. This one's a little bit harder, a little bit more challenge involved in that. So 12 kilometers per hour for 2 hours. How are we going to work that out? Well, in the first hour I go 12, in the second hour I go 12. So basically the distance then is going to be 12 times 2. Therefore, I'm going to be going 24 kilometers in that time. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. What about 1.5 hours then? Well, the way I would think, you can think about this two ways. You could do 12 times 1.5. You could do it like that. Or the way I would think about it is I would do 12 kilometers, which is the 1 hour. So in 1 hour, I go 12 kilometers. Plus, well, what am I going to do in half an hour? 0.5 of an hour. I'm going to go half the distance. So that's going to be 6, isn't it? Therefore, in 1.5 hours, I'm going to go 18 kilometers. Hopefully you're seeing how this works here. So basically, guys, this one is just multiplying. Fairly easy to do. So here are some examples then. And these ones I want you to try and do. Now, they go from the least challenging ones up here to the most challenging ones down here. You know what? Actually, we just did that one, didn't we? We did that one. So let's change it to... actually, let's change it away from 12. We'll make it 10. So that's the least challenging one there. And you know what? Let's change this one to 14. There we go. So least challenging, most challenging. So let's say I'm doing a jog and I'm jogging 10 kilometers per hour for 2 hours. How far am I going to go? That's question number one. I'm running a little bit faster now. I can only keep this up for 30 minutes. So I'm going 14 kilometers an hour. I hold that up for 30 minutes. How far will I have gone? Next, I'm driving now. So this is a much faster speed. I'm driving at 80 kilometers an hour. How far will I get in 3 hours? And also, how far would I get in 3.5 hours at the same speed? So that's a little bit more challenging. And this next one here, this one is in meters per second. This is actually the speed of one of the guns that I shoot. So I have a 243 that I shoot, and it goes 914 meters per second. This is a challenging one here. So 914 meters per second. How far will it go in 3/4 of a second? I feel like I should have had a stage in between. I'm gonna put an extra one in there for anyone that feels like they're in between the two of them. So we'll do the same gun, same speed, but over a different time. So let's say, how far will this bullet go in, let's just say 3 seconds. So there we go. We've got lots of calculations for you to work through here. Hopefully you are on your way to working out at least one of them. And I will go through each of the answers shortly. Now, you may have to do column sums or step sum, or not step sums, sorry, column sums or chimney sums or whatever you want to call them. Formal multiplication is what you will have to do in order to work out some of these, but you should be perfectly capable of doing it. So, let's go straight to the first one here. So, we got 10 kilometers an hour. Every hour, I go 10 kilometers. I do it for 2 hours, so I'm going to go 10, 20, right? 2 times 10. So, or 10 times 2 if you like. 10 times 2, and that's going to be 20 kilometers I'm going to travel. Hopefully that one makes sense. 14 kilometers an hour in 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes is half an hour. So what I'm really doing is I'm taking the 14 and I'm timesing it by 0.5. Or in other words, I'm halving it. Because this is in hours here, and this one's in minutes, and it's half an hour, if you like. So I could have rewritten this one. Instead of 30 minutes, I could have rewritten it as half an hour. Okay? Maybe that makes it make more sense to you. So it's basically half of 14 in this case. So half of 14, well, that's 7. So I would go 7 kilometers in half an hour. Much faster thing this time. So a car traveling at 80 kilometers an hour. Oh, I'm just noticing lots of stuff going on Teams here. I'm trying to catch up on it a wee bit at the same time. Anyway, I'll ignore that just now. But we got 80 kilometers an hour, and we're doing that for 3 hours. Now, some of you might be thinking, I don't know my 80 times table. Oh, that's really hard to do. Yeah, you do. All right? Do instead of 3 times 80, 3 times 8. Then multiply it by 10. Or stick a 0 on the end. All right? So, 3 times 8, well, we can do that. We know our 3 times table. We can easily get up to 8. That's 24, right? In fact, let's do it like this. So it's 8 times 3. And that equals 24. Okay. Well, we're not doing 8 times 3 though, we're doing 80 times 3. Which means our answer is going to be 10 times bigger. It's going to be 240 kilometers. What about in 3.5 hours then? Okay, well, we already know that in 3 hours we go 240. In half an hour then, if we go 80 kilometers in 1 hour, in half an hour, we're only going to go 40 kilometers. Oh, that disappeared there. I don't know why that disappeared. That's strange. There we go. So we're going to go an extra 40 kilometers. So in total, we're going to go 280 kilometers in this case. Hopefully everyone's following along at this point. I'm seeing lots of answers coming up in the comments here. Right, so now the trickier ones. You know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use a calculator for this because it will just take too long for me to actually multiply it out. But basically, 914 times 3. In this case, in 3 seconds, my bullet would go 2,742 meters. Meters, because it's 914 times 3. And the last one here, this one's a little bit trickier. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take 3/4 of 914. So in other words, we're going to take 914, divide it by 4, like so. But then we're going to have to times our answer by 3. So let's look at that then. So 914 divided by 4. 914 divided by 4. Well, that's 228.5. Don't know if you can see it there. Maybe. Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by 3. And what we get is 685.5 meters. Too big to fit on there, unfortunately. But hopefully... yeah, still too big. But that's fine. You can see that. So that's how we work these out, guys. Okay, so in the case of distance, if you know if there is a set speed and time, you just multiply the speed and the time together to get the distance. And again, the clue is in the name a little bit. Miles per hour, kilometers per hour, meters per second. So you know that for every second or every hour, you're going that distance. Simple as that. Okay, guys. Oh, sorry, just flipping back here. Dear me, I'm all clunky today. That's better. Right, so lesson number 2. Now, this is the second lesson. Like I said, we'd be splitting this up normally, but straight into it in this case. So we are learning to calculate the speed. This time we're learning to calculate the speed traveled over a set distance and time. So calculating the speed this time. Right, okay, well, this is a little bit different. So let's apply our thinking here. We're going 10 kilometers, and we're doing that in 1 hour. 10 kilometers in 1 hour. What does that mean? How would we write the speed there? 10 kilometers in 1 hour. 10 kilometers for every hour we go. 10 kilometers per hour. It's just 10 kilometers per hour, isn't it? 10 kilometers per hour. Oh, that was easier than I thought. Wow, these things are easy. Okay, so 10 kilometers per hour. Right, we didn't seem to have to do much there. So let's say that we're going 10 kilometers in 2 hours. Ah, right, now we need to think a little bit more. Right, so 10 kilometers in 2 hours, and we want to know how far we're going every hour, because speed is measured in things per hour, so kilometers per hour. I don't want to know 10 kilometers every 2 hours. I want to know how far I go every 1 hour. So in other words, we're going to have to, in this case, divide. We're going to have to do a little bit of division. So, thank you, Miss Lindsay. I appreciate the WhatsApp message. So we've got our 10 kilometers, and we want to know every 1 hour. Well, we're doing it in 2 hours, so we're going to have to half it. Divide it by 2. It's that simple. Division! This is the division one. Last time it was multiplying, this time it's dividing. You know what? At the end, I'm going to give you a little picture that will help with this, okay? It'll keep it in your head a little bit better. So, 10 kilometers, we're going to divide it by 2. So it's actually 10 divided by 2, and that tells us that it's 5 kilometers per hour. 5 kilometers per hour. That's it. That's easy. So let's just do a couple more of these. So we know that it's basically the distance divided by the time. Okay, speed is distance over time. So let's do, oh, I don't know, let's go 24 kilometers in 6 hours. I can't even think what we, this is quite slow. This is a toddler. A toddler is going on a 6-hour walk. We've got a little toddler out on its own, going on a wee walk around the block for 6 hours. How far does this toddler go? Let's try and work this out. So it's walked a staggering 24 kilometers, and it's been doing it for 6 hours. So in other words, we're doing 24 divided by 6, and that will tell us how fast it's walking every hour. So 24 divided by 6, it's walking 4 kilometers per hour. 4 kilometers per hour. This little toddler is going. It's got some endurance though. Some endurance for a toddler. Hopefully that's made you lol a little bit. But let's do one or two. No, just one more, and then I'm going to give you some questions for you to try. Okay, let's go. You know what? 100. No, 1,000. 1,000 kilometers. And we're going for, there's one that's less challenging. There's one that's a bit more challenging. Not much, a bit. I'll tell you what, 5 hours. So going a distance of 1,000 kilometers, how fast would you be going to do it in 2 hours? How fast would you be going to do it in 5 hours? And then, as a wee bonus, suggest what you might be travelling in for each one of these. So the 2 hours one, 1,000 kilometers per hour, doing it for 2 hours. Well, in that case, you're going to be going 500 kilometers per hour. It's just 500 divided by 2. Sorry, 500? 1,000. 1,000 divided by 2. Distance, 1,000 divided by time, 2 hours. 1,000 divided by 2. So 500 kilometers per hour is how fast you'd be going there. In the case of this one, 1,000 divided by 5, in that case, is going to be 200 kilometers per hour. So at this sort of speed, we're maybe talking a very fast train, perhaps going 200 kilometers per hour. And this one here, we're maybe talking some sort of plane going 500 kilometers an hour. So here are some challenge ones for you to try. We've got a mild, we've got spicy, we've got hot. So this is someone running 14 kilometers for 2 hours. Or, sorry, 14 kilometers in 2 hours. So they ran for 2 hours, and in that time, they traveled 14 kilometers. How fast are they going in kilometers per hour? I'll write that there for you. We got another one going 240. Didn't I just do that one? I don't know if I did. My brain obviously works the same way when I'm planning versus when I'm doing. So 240 kilometers, and they did that in 4 hours. How fast were they going? And that's again going to be in kilometers per hour. And this is actually one of my other rifles here, my slower rifle. This is a 2.2 long rifle. And it goes, the bullets out of that go 972 meters. Well, in 3 seconds, they would go 972 meters. So how fast do they go on average in meters per second? So the last one was much faster. This one's a good bit slower, but we're looking for this one in meters per second. Right, so let's work these out. So we know that speed is distance divided by time. So we have 14 divided by 2. Well, that's just 7. So 7 kilometers per hour. We have 240 divided by 4. 240 divided by 4. Well, you might be thinking, oh, that's really hard. Tell you what, knock off a 0 to start with. over here, just do 24 divided by 4 and then make it 10 times bigger at the end. So 24 divided by 4, well, that's 6. So 240 divided by 4, that's 60. Simple, right? So 60 kilometers per hour. And this last one here, 972 divided by 3. Oh, I've just noticed the WhatsApp messages, Miss Lindsay. The toddler did grow up there. 972. Oh, I'm doing my calculations wrong. You've thrown me off. 972 divided by 3. This one would be going 324 meters per second. There we go. Simple. That one is just division. So if you're wanting to work out the speed, you divide the distance by the time. So we're now on to lesson 3. Lesson 3, and you know what? We're getting the hang of this now, so I'm going to go through this a little bit faster. This time we're just wanting to work out the time. Now, the time will always be in whatever the time that we're working out will always be in the same unit as the speed that we're doing it in. So in this case, we're working out. We're going at 5 kilometers per hour, so we know that our time is going to be in hours. Hopefully that makes sense. If it was meters per second, our time would be seconds. If it was miles a minute, our time unit would be minutes, and so on. So we know that we're going 10 kilometers, and we're doing that at a speed of 5 kilometers an hour. So the toddler has gotten just a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. It's been training. It's been doing its 24 kilometers a day. And it's gotten a little bit faster. It's been able to get its average speed up from 4 kilometers an hour to 5 kilometers an hour. So now we're wanting to work out how far does our toddler... sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm distracting myself. We're looking to work out how long does it take for it to go 10 kilometers if it's going 5 kilometers every hour. So let's think about this one. It's going 5 kilometers every hour, so the first hour it goes 5 kilometers, the second hour it's gone 10 kilometers. 5, 10. Well, that's 2 hours, right? 2 hours. So how did we actually do that? What was the operation? What was the operation we were doing there? Well, really it's division again, isn't it? So to work out the time, we do the distance divided by the speed. So this again is division. Now, sometimes you might be thinking, or you might now be thinking at this point, well, wait, we sometimes multiply. The first lesson 1 was multiplying. The last 2 have been dividing. How are we going to remember this? This is going to be a nightmare to remember. Don't worry, I got something to help you with that. So don't panic. I'm about to show you something that will help you. But for now, let's focus on this, and let's look at how we can work out the time. And then I'll give you a way of remembering it all. So, in this case, going 10 kilometers at a speed of 5 kilometers an hour, it will take you 2 hours. Okay? Let's change this then. Let's say we're going 20 kilometers, and we're doing it at a speed of 4 kilometers an hour. 4 kilometers an hour. 20 kilometers, 4 kilometers an hour. Well, the first hour we go 4, second hour we go 8, third hour 12, fourth hour 16, fifth hour 20. So I'm basically doing my 4 times table until I get to 20. What else do we call that? Division! It's just division. Oh, I hit the microphone. I'm sorry. But it's just division. Okay? So, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So it's going to be 5 hours that's going to take. So, a couple more of these then. Have I even got examples? I haven't got examples for this one, I'm afraid. So we'll just have to work through this together here. So one more of these. Let's go 150 kilometers. And we're going to do it at a speed of 50 kilometers an hour. How long is that going to take us? How long are we going for? So 150, and we're dividing it by 50. I'm just going to give you a moment to think about that, because some of you might be thinking, oh, I've got to do my 50 times table. And you could, but you could also just do your 5 times table. And instead of going up to 150, you do it up to 15. So get your answers written in the comments. See if you can work this out. Give it a shot. And we'll go through the answers in 3, 2, 1. Right. The way I'd be thinking of this, I quite like to knock off zeros when it comes to division, wherever I can. So instead of 115 divided by 50, I'm going to do 15 divided by 5. 5, 10, 15. Done. 3 hours. Simple. 3 hours. Okay. Let's do just one more. And I'll tell you what, let's do a meters one. Okay, so we'll say we've got... You know I like guns. I find guns interesting. So we're going... it goes a total of 1,000... Nah, that's too similar. Let's go 1,200 meters. Oh, this is going to be... Nah, I'm going to make it a little bit easier. A little bit easier, not much easier. 1,200 meters, and we'll do it at... Keep clicking elsewhere. 600 meters per second. So have a think, what is the unit of time going to be in? What's the unit of time going to be in? And then how are we going to work out the time it takes? So we got 1,200 divided by 600. Well, like I said, we can knock off zeros with division. So actually, instead of doing our 600 times table until we get to 1,200, why not just do 1,200 divided by 6? Simple, right? 1,000, no, 12. 12 divided by 6, much easier. 12 divided by 6. In that case, it's going to be 2 seconds. Okay? So that is lesson number 3. We've crammed it all in, 3 lessons for the price of 1. But now you have to remember how to do it. So here is our wee diagram. This is known as the distance, speed, and time triangle. So let's say, you know what, I'm going to create a question mark block. Let's do that there. We'll do this, and we'll stick a question mark over it. There. Okay. So this question mark is representing the thing that we're wanting to work out. Okay, so let's say, lesson number 1, we were working out the distance. I want to know the distance. What do I have to do? I do speed times time. Alright, okay, so if I need to work out the distance and I know the speed and the time, distance is speed times time. And if we go back to lesson 1, wherever that one was, that was exactly what we were doing. We had the speed, 12 kilometers an hour for 2 hours, 24 kilometers is the distance. So, right, so it works for that one. So, if we want to know the distance, we do speed times time. What if we want to work out the speed? Cover that one. Well, that's distance over time, isn't it? So it's distance, sorry, you can't see that well. Let's make it, there we go. Then if I just highlight it, it makes it a little bit clearer. So distance over time. What does that really mean then? Well, that means divided by. That's distance divided by time. It's just like a fraction, isn't it? And we all know that fractions are just fancy division sums. So if we need to know the speed, we do distance divided by time. Makes sense. What about the other way around then? We want to know the time it's going to take to go a certain distance in a certain speed. Well, in that case, it's distance over speed. And that tells us what the time is. So using this little diagram, if you just think, when I was at school, I always just used to cover it. You know, like just cover the one that I was wanting to find out with my thumb, and then it would tell me which one I had to do. Okay, so if I want to know distance, speed times time. If I want to know the speed, distance divided by time. If I want to know the time, distance divided by speed. Piece of cake. So that's it, guys. Hopefully, I have made this a little bit clearer for all of you here. Hopefully, you're now feeling a little bit more confident with how to work this out. Now, I've not really been looking at the comments too much here because I've just been working right through this, but I'm very hopeful now that you are now feeling a little bit more confident and that you're in a position to just get cracking with the maths today. All right? Anyway, I'm going to sign off just now. My class meetings, for anyone that's on here, class meetings with my class, any group, any topic, just anything that you're needing a bit of advice on, we're going to have that at 11 o'clock. Okay, 11 o'clock, so you've got about 25 minutes from now. Anyway, guys, signing off just now. Have a great day, and take care. Cheers.